Right now, as I speak, millions and millions of drivers are saving money on their car insurance with GEICO. If you're one of those drivers, well done. If you're not, it's easy to join them. Visit geico.com today.
Joining us now is the man who's been behind our big flag since 1997, if memory serves me correct, a longtime volunteer of the San Diego Bowl Game Association, Gary Dobbs. Gary, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Bruce, Mark.
Gary, tell us your involvement with the flag. It all started, as I recall, back in 1997 when we used to rent a flag from an individual, and it got a little bit complicated, and we decided we were going to purchase our own flag, and you got involved. Tell us your memories of how you first started with taking care of our football field-size flag.
Well, in 1997, in the summer, the assistant bowl director, a fellow by the name of Bruce Binkowski, called me on the phone.
The guy's a load, isn't he, Gary?
I know him quite well. Go ahead, Gary.
But a truck driver, a female truck driver in Yuma, Arizona, called and said she had the flag on the back of her 18-wheeler and she'd be in San Diego in a couple hours. And Bruce asked me what we should do with the flag. And he said, since you're retired military, you obviously know things about the flag. And at that point, we went to general quarters, and as they say, the rest is history.
And when we first started, it was frankly, we didn't know what we were doing. In fact, the first time we unfurled the flag was at a Chargers preseason game. And when we practiced with the Marines, if you recall, you practiced, again, with a football size flag on a cement, and there was a big tear in the flag. Do you recall that, Gary?
Yes. None of us had actually assisted the predecessor, Ski Dembski, so we really didn't know the procedures that he went through to train the people. So we just had to kind of, on the fly, figure out, well, how do we get from here to there? How do we get it unfurled, and what do we have to do to train these guys? So we did go up to Camp Pendleton, and the Marines, trying to do us a favor, found a big blacktop grinder out in the middle of nowhere, figuring that was better than being on grass. And for 6 hours, we struggled with trying to figure out how to wrestle that big flag around. And there were just two of us at that time, Big John and myself. And, yeah, they stepped on the flag a couple times, so we had some tears in it. But those were just the learning curves.
Now, over the years, this flag has been just about everywhere. It's been in baseball games, football games, at the Del Mar racetrack, a lot of different places. What is the most unique unfurling that you've been associated with over the years?
Well, the most memorable, Bruce, was as you know, for 3 years, we did the opening game for the Chicago Bears in the NFL. And the second year of that contract was the Sunday after 9/11. And, of course, the game that we were scheduled on Sunday got canceled. We were, in fact, due to fly on the Tuesday of 9/11. But it turned out to be just a hellacious downpour when it came around to game time. And it was part of a national hookup. The president had an opening day remarks on the coast-to-coast TV, and then they started in New York, and then they went to Chicago for the big flag. And it was a torrential downpour. And, of course, the flag doesn't drain very well in terms of water because it's like a big sail. And so the teams, the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears, were standing on the sideline helping the sailors hold this flag from collapsing because it was full of water. And I think that's the most memorable and the one that brings the most pointed memories back to me.
And the story following that is the flag was wet. It can't get wet. And remember, it's the size of a football field, so it's very heavy, and if it gets wet, it gets damp and it molds. So we shipped it to California, back to California. It was cleaned. And a couple of weeks later, we were at a Chargers game with a brand new clean flag. And
how much did it cost to clean the flag?
About $20,000, if I recall. Right, Gary? About 20?
It was $24,000 the first time.
Yep.
And the second time because they'd never cleaned a flag before, so that's the price they quoted us. The second time we cleaned it, which I think was like 8 or 9 years later, the same group did it for like $8,000.
Yeah.
But it's quite an involvement to try to clean that flag because you literally wash it by hand.
You certainly can't put it in your washer machine and hang it up to dry because it's...
That's a good one, Bruce.
Okay. In any event, a couple of weeks after Chicago, we were at a Chargers game, and 9/11 was still fresh in everyone's mind, and we were practicing at the rugby fields, right, the Charger practice field, the old practice field, and we had firefighters and police officers and military, and we were practicing, and then we realized we have to get it from the practice field to the stadium right before kickoff to unfurl it. And I'll never forget that day because the flag is, if you've seen it, you have to carry it on your shoulder. And we had all these great people carrying the flag through the parking lot. And we had the sheriff's department bagpipers were leading the way. And I remember people were cheering and applauding and crying because it was just a very emotional time. And we walked that flag into the stadium. You remember that one, Gary?
Yeah, that started maybe the tradition that one of the things I like most about the Holiday Bowl was that because of that particular instance, as you related, we now march the flag around the stadium before each of the Holiday Bowl games. And sometimes we have pipers, sometimes we just have drummers. But it still resonates. As it goes around the stadium, we have a police escort, of course, to clear people out of the way. But it's still standing ovation. The people still just cheer and yell and make very nice remarks to the Marines that are carrying the flag. So that's one of the highlights of the Holiday Bowl. So if you are coming to the Holiday Bowl, get there early, get settled in, but be out there at around 5 o'clock when we carry the flag around the outside of the stadium.
Not to put you on the spot, how many people does it take? How much does it weigh, et cetera? Give us some of the stats.
In a perfect world, it takes 248 people to do it adequately. We've done it with 115, and we've done it with 400. So, but ideally, it's 248. The flag weighs pretty close to 900 pounds. It's a nylon composition. For those who are sailors, it's 200 denier nylon, and it measures obviously 50 yards by width of the field and 100 yards long. Although with two laundry visits, it's shrunk a little now. So it's about 98 yards by 48 now.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Thanks for letting me know about that. Next time we buy another flag, we'll make sure it's the proper size. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate all the work you've done with our football field-size flag and all your years of volunteering for both the Holiday and Poinsettia Bowl games.
Well, we've had a lot of nice people say a lot of nice things about us all over the United States and even up in Canada when we did some things up there. So it's been a great experience, and it's a very positive part of the Holiday Bowl.
Thank you very much, Gary. You're listening to GEICO'S Bowl Game Radio on the GEICO San Diego Bowl Game Media Network and XX 1090.